Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a quick look here at MATIC, seeing what's going on with this guy. We're going to update our Fibonacci levels a little bit here and talk about the big picture, of course, because this coin is definitely looking like it wants to make some moves here, and we're going to talk about that just by quickly identifying some liquidation levels. Okay, so I get the question a lot, how important is liquidation? Well, it's very important to understand because what it does is it tells us specifically where the largest amount of concentration is and where the targets are. In other words, you got kind of a target on your back if you are kind of all hanging out in the same area, right? Because whales love to drive the price action in the direction that has the most liquidation. And right now we can see right there at about 9.6, 9.7. Sorry, correction, I misspoke. 96, 97 cents. Right in that range is essentially the most amount of liquidation. Okay, so that basically just means that what the price action does is they take a lot of small little orders and continue to push the price action towards that level, and then they dump those levels and then reverse the price on average. Or sometimes you break through that level, works as a support level as a previous resistance. But the bottom line here is that we saw a lot of lower liquidity levels here swept at the 81 to 82 cent range. That means there's not a lot of pressure at this point, and the price action could continue higher now. Okay, so it's probably a stronger likelihood the price is going to go up because of that, than now that we've swept those levels. Okay, so just keep in mind we are in a position right now too, just to touch on this here, where Elliott Wave, if this is the lowest point, which is likely, then whenever we establish our higher low, or sorry, lower high, then we'll have a potential where the price action will reject and come back down lower. Okay, I still think we're going to probably come up to this level here personally, but we're going to look at a few key factors to identify that. Okay. Quickly too, to note, I get a lot of community members telling me that they really like the exchange here. It's a no VPN, no KYC required. I did partner with Bitunix recently. They provide tremendous amount of newbie benefits here. Super happy to work with them. Use my link down below. You'll be able to become eligible for those trading competitions and those bonus rewards, so be sure to check that out. Really happy that's working well for you. Again, I just like to make sure that we bring some good exchanges to our community, because unfortunately US, Canada, UK, a lot of the countries there have difficulty with KYC, and they're actually awesome. So keep in mind, really cool exchange there. So what I want to talk about here on the daily is this ascending trend. We had an ascending trend, we've broken down below it. So you got to keep in mind, we've lost this ascending trend line. Doesn't mean that the sky is falling though, okay? Because we're still above the 20-day SMA. Oftentimes trend lines run concurrent with moving averages. So we can kind of just summarize that that is a trend line we want to pay attention to, but I guess you could say the larger term time frame with these previous higher lows, that has been broken. Okay, so just a slight shift in momentum doesn't mean the price is going to drop because of it. Just tells us that we lost that initial trend line, but we still have the 20-day SMA. We are also doing well with our money flow index being higher than our RSI. That's typically a great sign. However, we do have a divergence here. Avalanche and I think Chainlink, a few other coins right now are exuding the same behavior. And when you have a MACD divergence on the daily, it's just something to kind of pay attention to, that the overall momentum has shifted. So it could imply that a long position may not be viable. But we do want to understand here too, we have a phenomenal type of doji candle here. So this is considered to be a dragonfly doji here, where the price action closed exactly at the same place that it opened within a 24-hour period, but wicked all the way down. So we had a 6% correction, and in that same 24-hour time frame, the price action recovered back to its original open. That's usually a trend reversal sign here, and with today being a doji candle so far, that's a positive sign with potential to the upside. Okay, so again, those are just some contributing factors that I've seen over the years here that I think are relevant to understand, because candlestick patterns, while you don't only want to ever trade solely using those, it's important to understand that those are good levels to or things to kind of identify, I guess, and trade with. Okay, trade alongside it. So again, if you add a lot of contributing factors here, the daily time frame gives us more indication that there's a higher probability of the price going up than down from here. When we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we can kind of see here that there's a few things that are important to recognize. First of all, we are converging in the MACD here. So this kind of tells us a different story, right? That we have shifted momentum from bearish to bullish on the midterm time frame here. This is typically a great swing trade indication. We can also see here as well that the RSI is stuck under 50. Never a great sign, but money flow index is increasing. That leads us to believe that there is enough volume to potentially break through this resistance here, which we previously identified as about 85.6 cents. So 85.6, again, ideally, it's a previous resistance. Turn support, turn resistance. All right, so again, it's an area of contention, basically. The bottom line is that our average true range is really close to that. So it's going to be a place in which the price will start to average itself out. We are seeing a lot of coins doing that right now, where they're kind of just hanging out right in the middle of their average true range. So when we look at fair value gap on the 4 hour, there's not a tremendous amount of that, but there is a little bit above the price action here, right at about the 88 cent mark. That could be a target there. We look at liquidity again, there's a massive amount of liquidity on the upper level here that we identified previously on this chart here. Okay, in other words, right there closer to $1, tons and tons of liquidity. So that's an important level to understand because there's somewhat of a magneticism to that level, right? So if we take a look here, we can kind of just flip that around and kind of understand that's a potential area that might get retested here. We take a quick look at the moving averages. We're above 3 of the 4 important ones. The 50-day SMA would be nice to be back up above that, but that's going to be working as a resistance level for now. But the truth is we're above 3 out of 4 of those moving averages, with the 20 being kind of the more important one here, and the 100 working concurrent with the ascending trend. Okay, so those are mostly, again, positive, and nothing really disadvantageous there in my personal opinion. The 4-hour time frame I would summarize as looking fairly positive. The hourly is where we want to kind of get confirmation here, and we're really, really close to breaking through the cloud here. Okay, now this isn't full-on confirmation, but usually when the cloud drops off like this and you see the price going sideways, there's much more propensity for the price action to break free from that level and to continue higher. Conversion line is above the baseline, albeit not super strong, but it is there, and lagging spans free and clear. So the truth here is that we do have green lights, basically 2 out of 3 green lights here, letting us know a long position would be more appropriate than taking a short. If you're trying to short right now, this would not be ideal because we have momentum to the upside. Even though we're coming into a resistance level here, we still have a lot more support based on those moving averages we talked about earlier. So again, when you when you're looking to take a trade, the best thing to do is to try to convince yourself that there's no trade, to convince yourself that the trade is not appropriate. We want to look for reasons not to take a trade instead of to take one. Whereas in this case here, we've talked about, I would say, majority of all time frames are all looking fairly bullish. Okay, so we can summarize that MATIC is probably about a 75% probability of further upside than downside. Now, where that stops, where that discontinues, it really just depends. A lot of the times it's based on these Fibonacci retracement levels. So again, 0.382 is a common place of rejection. So we could very well see the price come up there and continue down lower to this 0.82, 0.83 mark, or sorry, 83 cent mark. What's also likely is for the price to break through that level, retest that as a support, and continue higher. So if I were to set some targets, my targets would just be low Fibonacci retracement levels, so probably somewhere in the range of 8 or maybe 87.5, not making an exact level of about 88, because if you use round numbers, you'll notice you don't get filled because those are levels that are typically rejected. Okay. So again, just some thoughts there, but this does definitely look like it's more likely to increase than decrease in the immediate future. Bear in mind too, if Bitcoin has a bad day and it decides it wants to sell off, almost all this can become invalidated. It's a sucky thing, I know. It's really terrible, that's the way it works. Perhaps one day that'll change, but for now we got to recognize that. So watch my Bitcoin video if you're not sure what's going on with that guy. That is probably the most important video to watch, so you get a foundation of knowing what direction things are heading. But all in all, I think we're looking pretty good here. I'll post my playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Be sure to check that out. And then furthermore, too, you could please like the video, subscribe, and follow if you haven't already. And be sure to check out our phenomenal exchange that we're partnered with here. Great benefit rewards, and we have trading competitions coming up here soon. Looking forward to that as well. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you all in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.